If you enjoy True Crime Buzz, but need some more true crime in your life, then check out this other awesome podcast that we highly recommend.
Hey, true crime listeners, need more intrigue and death in your life? We're Kim and Mary from Mystery Knox Podcast, and we're a podcast that covers unsolved deaths, disappearances, and mysterious cases.
Come join us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts as we pick apart these unsolved cases and try to make sense of the mysterious, puzzling, baffling, enigmatic.
I think they get it. We're good.
Oh, okay. So grab your tea or coffee and snacks and join us.
And remember, stay weird, stay curious.
Hey everyone, welcome back to True Crime Buzz. I'm your host Amber, and with me as always is Brittany.
Hi.
And we also have a special bonus guest.
Yes.
Randomly, because this was not planned.
Well, we had talked about it.
So y'all all know I've talked about Shayla in the CrimeCon episode because she was my partner in crime in Brittany's place since she couldn't go. Well, we decided to take another little vacay except to Tennessee this time, and it was literally last minute, and I realized, oh, I'm supposed to record, and she was like, that's okay, I'll just join you. So she's with us today, too.
Hello, hello, hello.
Welcome, Shayla.
I'm so pumped to be here in this hotel room with Amber and virtually with you.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
All right, so let's all talk about what we're drinking. Shayla's a true champ, and she got us a huge bottle of Rex Goliath Pinot Grigio.
Ooh, that sounds good.
It's delicious.
My Diet Coke is for backup.
You do.
Good. Good. One of each. Look, see, this works.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to merge the two of you together.
Really get the vibe going, you know. I, of course, am drinking a Diet Sam's Cola, but I'm drinking it out of the koozie thing that Amber got me, so...
I love that koozie.
I love it, too. It's so glittery. So extra.
It's so Brittany.
Yes. It's Brittany, bitch.
Speaking of Brittany.
Oh, yes. By the time this episode comes out, it'll be old news, but lots of stuff going on in the Free Britney world.
Yes.
She had court on the 23rd. She went in front of a judge and literally just did not hold anything back. She was just like, yeah, I want my freedom. This is bullshit. I'll sue my family if I have to. Like, yes. I'm ready to live my life. And I couldn't agree with her more. And I posted the article on our social media, so go check it out. But at the very end, the judge was like, I've heard you. I get it. We'll see where this goes. So I'm very hopeful.
Me too. Very hopeful.
Do you have any personal true crimes this week, Brittany?
Yes. My entire day with my children was a true crime. Oh, they were on one today.
You have any examples?
Sure, if you want one. My son woke my middle daughter up by shooting her with a Nerf gun that he was grounded from. He's not even supposed to have Nerf guns. But someone gifted him one, and, I said, we'll see how it goes. And I quickly learned it's not for him. And so he woke her up by shooting her with a Nerf gun.
I mean, that's what good big brothers do, right?
Sure. No, then I was awakened by guttural screaming from my middle child from the other end of the house as she came running to the bedroom. That's real fun to be woke up that way.
Well, that's just a usual Thursday, right?
I mean, to some extent, yes.
Shayla, do you have any personal true crimes this week?
I don't think I do. I did commit a crime at CrimeCon, if they're not listening.
What did you do?
I took the water glass from the restaurant bar because it had all the circles on it.
Ooh, that's fancy.
I think that's part of CrimeCon is committing a crime yourself.
I wanted to get the full experience.
Right, yes. What about you, Amber? What's your true crime of the week?
Well, Shayla and I are visiting Tennessee, and while I love it here, there are so many people. Everywhere you go, there is no 6 feet social distancing going on. Like, I got spoiled during COVID, even though it sucked, just having that personal space. But everywhere we go, people are just like right up on you, breathing on you, and I'm not here for it.
I'm not here for that, period, even before COVID.
Yeah. So, Brittany, what do you have for us today?
Today, I'm covering a lesser-known case. While this man may not be universally known, he was the first person to make the FBI's top most wanted list as an 11th name on the list. He was a violent man who enjoyed robbery, assault, and dismemberment, and his murderous ways lasted in Portland and Salem, Oregon for 14 years. Today, I'm talking about Richard Marquette, also known as Dick Marquette. And he is a dick.
He's a real dick.
He's a real dick. Richard Lawrence Marquette was born on December 12th, 1934 in Portland, Oregon, and I searched all over the internet and books to find anything about his family history or upbringing, and there was literally nothing, except that he was an Army veteran. That's the only background we have on this guy.
Okay.
So the first time Richard pops up on the radar was in 1956 when at age 22 he was arrested for attempted rape. However, the victim ended up dropping the charges and so Richard was released and was a free man.
What?
I know.
Okay.
I know. How many times does this happen in our stories? Like a million, right?
All the time. Way too much.
Way too many times. However, in 1957, Richard decided he was above the law once again. He planned to rob a gas station in Portland with a bunch of wrenches for his weapon of choice. Like a bag of wrenches.
A bag of wrenches? He was just going to, bash him on the back of the head?
Guess so. I feel like that's very, the game of Clue.
It is, yeah. It was Dick at the gas station with a bag of wrenches.
Yes.
Yeah.
But a wrench was thrown into that plan. Pun most definitely intended.
Ba-dumps.
Thank you. When he was caught, arrested, and charged and sentenced to serve 18 months in prison. But he was a model prisoner, so he was released after only serving 12 months, which this is sort of a reoccurring theme in Richard's life. Richard kept a low profile for the next 4 years, and the next part of our story takes place on the evening of June 6th, 1961. Richard was getting sloshed at a downtown Portland bar when an old classmate, Mrs. Joan Cottle, recognized Richard and approached him to say hi. The two sat together, catching up on each other's lives. Richard later said they bar hopped that evening across the Hawthorne Bridge and that because of Joan's high heels, quote, we had to be careful so she didn't step in those cracks on the bridge. They then got in a cab headed towards his place on Southeast 27th Avenue. Richard said they spent the ride, quote-unquote, necking. This guy's from Oregon. That's a very British thing to say.
Oh, I was just thinking 1950s.
Okay, well,
necking.
Maybe.
Is that a British thing?
Or no, is that snogging? Yeah, because there's that book.
What is snogging?
That's what the British call it, when you make out.
I did not know that. British tip of the day.
There's a book, a young adult book, Agnes and something snogging, and it's really good. It's one of my favorite books. I'll find the title, and I'll send it to you.
Okay.
But then, the night got a lot less romantic when Richard strangled Joan Cottle until she was dead. He then carried her body to the shower and cut her body up. He then scattered her body parts around Southeast Portland and then went on the run.
Okay, Jeffrey.
Right, though? What the heck, dude?
I'm not trying to victim blame, but, did he say, did he get mad at her and...
Oh, we'll get there. We'll
okay.
get there. Just enjoy the ride.
I'm just completely immersed in the story right now. That's why I'm not talking.
Her eyes are just, getting bigger and bigger every time you go on with the story.
I know. So, Joan's husband, because yes, she was married. That's why I said Mrs. Joan Cottle, reported her missing on June 8th, 1961. They found she was last seen leaving a bar with an unidentified man, although her husband had told police that she had been out shopping for Father's Day gifts. He did say that while Joan wasn't a regular drinker, she had been depressed lately and might have stopped by a bar for a drink. And that might have been where this story ended. But on June 8th, the same day Joan was reported missing, the police received a bizarre phone call from a local housewife. The woman called the Portland police to inform them that her dog had returned home carrying a human foot in a paper bag.
Oh my.
Right? The doggy bag. So many puns that could be made with this story. So the police went to her home to investigate, and while they were there, the dog returned again. This time, the dog was carrying a hand.
Now my eyes are getting big.
So, let's be real. Make no bones about it. Okay.
This dog has really lended a hand to this police department.
Yes, I literally wrote, that's exactly. I said the dog is the real detective of this story.
Oh my god. Y'all are too much. This whole story is nothing but a dad joke.
It is. But after the dog brought the hand back, the police started a deep search of the area and discovered several more body parts, all fresh and bled dry. Police looked at the missing persons list and determined these body parts must belong to Joan Cottle. They continued their investigation, which eventually led them to the home of old Dick Marquette. Dick had fled, but inside his home, they found blood-stained lingerie and more of Joan's body parts wrapped up like butcher meat in the fridge. The only thing still missing was Joan's head, which was later discovered at a nearby river.
Oh my god. That's horrible.
It is. It's terrifying. Which leads me to the next point. Joan Cottle's murder terrified Portlanders. Joan was a 24-year-old wife and mother to 2 kids. Her murder didn't make any sense. An arrest warrant was issued and the manhunt for Richard Marquette began. The governor of Oregon, Mark Hatfield, pleaded with the FBI to help, and the FBI did something they had never done. They added Richard Marquette to the FBI's 10 most wanted as an 11th name.
Oh shit.
And it worked insanely quick. Richard Marquette was arrested in California the day after being added to the most wanted list.
Wow.
Yes.
Way to go, Californians.
Yes.
So how did someone call in a tip?
Oh, I'll get there.
All right.
Richard had spent 3 weeks hitchhiking and riding buses around the western U.S. and down into Mexico. But the FBI was able to locate him in Santa Maria, California via a tip. So good call, Shayla. At a salvage yard where Richard had started working, doing odd jobs around said salvage yard. The agents showed up pretending they were customers interested in buying a mattress. When Richard stepped outside to help them, they yelled, "Are you Marquette?" To which he calmly responded, "Oh, yes, I am."
I'm Ron Burgundy?
Yes, very much like that. They took him into custody with no incident. He didn't fight back or anything. So they took him to Santa Barbara County Jail to await extradition. The day after his arrest, Richard did an interview with a reporter from the Santa Barbara News Press. The reporter's name was Barney Brantingham. Barney described Richard as politely talkative, neither nervous nor argumentative. In the interview, Richard said he woke up early on June 6th and found Joan's corpse in his home and that, quote, "I was so out of my head, dead drunk," end quote. He also sighed and said, quote, "I wish I'd never seen her, but as the FBI man said, it's water under the bridge now," end quote. So he's like, I was really drunk. I don't remember what happened. I just woke up and found her dead, you know?
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Richard eventually admitted to strangling Joan and cutting her up in his shower, but he gave no motive and said he didn't remember much because he was so drunk. Newspapers called Richard the Butcher due to the nature of how Joan's body parts were recovered, all wrapped in paper.
Today's episode is sponsored by Relief Factor. Pain from everyday living, exercise, or just getting older is one of the leading causes of trips to the doctor and many sleepless nights. It interferes with daily activities and can even keep us from spending time with the people we love. If you have everyday pain, it stands to reason you need something you can feel comfortable with taking every single day. That's why doctors invented 100% drug-free Relief Factor. Now tens of thousands of customers are using Relief Factor every day to become mostly or completely pain-free. 100% drug-free Relief Factor features 4 key ingredients that each work on a different metabolic pathway to support your body's natural healing processes to respond to pain and inflammation. Now you can try Relief Factor too. The 3-week quick start, retail price of almost $70, is now available to our listeners for just $19.95. Head to the link in our show notes to find out more. Start your journey to better health and less pain today with Relief Factor.
During his trial, a psychiatrist testified that Richard was seriously emotionally disturbed. However, that's emotionally disturbed, not mentally disturbed. But since it wasn't mentally, he was convicted of first-degree murder, sentenced to 1 life sentence, and sent to Oregon State Penitentiary. And that's where our story should end. Nope. Richard Marquette followed all the rules, kept to himself, and was, quote, a model prisoner, end quote. So, the state of Oregon said, what the heck? Why not? And released Richard on parole in 1973 after just 11 years.
Ma'am. Why?
Right? How you give somebody a life sentence and be like, 11 years is sufficient?
You take a human body to a dicer. It doesn't matter how good you are the rest of your life. Like, you have to stay imprisoned.
Yes.
Fuck.
I don't know. I'd like to ask Oregon that myself, but I don't have the number for Oregon.
I'm going to do some research on that.
I'll look it up. I'll give him a call.
Take it off site.
That's right. So he was a free man. And then in 1975, a fisherman in Marion County, Oregon, discovered mutilated body parts floating in a shallow marsh and called authorities. The body was savagely mutilated and had been drained of all blood and dismembered before being dumped. And whoever dumped the body barely tried to conceal it. All body parts were found, except for the genitalia, which was never recovered. So
Again, okay, Dahmer.
Right, though?
Is that an okay boomer?
Yeah.
I know from what I've learned and watched from Hannibal, the genitalia is the piece to cook and eat. It's tender meat. It's not been burned by the sun or calloused, or it's just skin.
Ugh, gross. Well, I mean, I don't think, to my knowledge, he didn't eat it. I don't know. He never said where it was at. It was never recovered. So he might have. He might have, Shayla.
We can use our imagination.
Yes, we can. Authorities were able to identify the body as 37-year-old Betty Wilson. Betty Wilson was a mother of 11 who had gotten married to a real jerk at 16. She was also a North Carolina native. Betty's husband was abusive, and Betty had grown up and lived a really hard life. At one point, she was living in an abandoned school bus at a dump with no running water or electricity. Eventually, all of Betty's 11 kids ended up in foster care, and so Betty decided this was her chance to escape her abusive husband. She hid in the trunk of her sister's car as her sister drove them from North Carolina to Oregon. Betty was determined to start over and have a better life. So, that's extra sad. What a dick.
Yeah.
This poor woman was...
She was looking for her new life, the newer, better, have the best life, and then this happens.
Yeah. She was living with her sister in Salem and was last seen alive at a local nightclub. Because of the history with her abusive husband, authorities went down that avenue first, but Betty's husband had been working back in North Carolina, so his alibi was airtight. And when that door closed, investigators had no doubt Richard Marquette, the butcher, had struck again. So they started a stakeout at Richard's home and obtained a search warrant for the inside and outside of the mobile home that he was living in. They found several small but very significant signs of physical evidence that linked Richard to the murder of poor Betty Wilson. So less than 55 hours after Betty's body had been found, Richard Marquette was arrested for murder for a second time.
What's the time link between Betty and the first victim?
1961 and 1975.
Wow.
Yeah. And Richard's story with Betty was pretty much the same as what happened with him and Joan Cottle. They had been drinking, went back to his place. She refused to have sex with him, so he killed her the same way he had Joan.
I was getting ready to say that. I bet it's the same exact scenario, or at least what he's telling us.
Yep, so it's because people refused to have sex with him. Criminal psychologist working with Richard said that he was a perfectly normally socially adjusted individual unless women rejected him, which they concluded would then set him off in a murderous rage. Richard confessed to murdering another woman during his Betty Wilson confession. He said he killed this other woman in 1974. He didn't know her name, but same story, drinking, rejection, killing, dismembering, and dumping her body. Richard took cops to 2 shallow graves he had buried the Jane Doe in, but it was basically just a skeleton with no head. Richard said since he never heard anything more about the woman, on the news or anything, that he figured nobody missed her. Which, how presumptuous, ya dick.
And what a dick comment.
Yes. Boy, he was named the right thing, wasn't he?
Yeah, he really was. He was a real Richard.
Mm-hmm. Her identity still remains unknown to this day. Also, despite how clean the cuts were on these victims, Richard had zero history of hunting or professional butcher work. In addition to that, originally in the Joan Cottle case, he had told cops that he had dismembered her because he didn't have a vehicle to dispose of her body. And, you gotta have some way to do it, so it was more inconspicuous to cut her up, basically, is what he was saying. But in the case of Betty Wilson and Jane Doe, he had a reliable truck, so clearly he, for some sick reason, enjoyed chopping up the women who told him no.
Oh, definitely. He wanted to.
Yeah.
You can tell that, especially with the heads missing.
Mm-hmm. And the genitalia.
Yeah.
Richard Marquette pled guilty to murder again and was sentenced that May to life in prison without the chance of parole this time. And he has been incarcerated in the Oregon State Penitentiary since 1975. So in conclusion, what we've learned today is consent is everything. No means no. It doesn't mean chop women up who reject you. Accept the no and don't be a dick. Marquette.
Wait, so he's still alive and he's still in jail?
Yeah.
He's got to be old as dirt right now.
Oh, yeah.
When was he born?
1934.
So he's 87.
So at least he doesn't have the ability to have parole this time.
Thank God.
And what's this model prisoner? Like, I don't care if you're a model prisoner. You chopped up a body. Like,
Correct.
Right. And it's not like he was like a young kid or...
like there was no drug problem there. You have a problem.
Yeah, literally over rejection. It's not like there was a mental problem or like he was a young kid and, you know, there's a lot of controversy around that, but your brain's not developed if you're a young kid and you kill.
Then 14 years later to do it again over the same thing, like, you're just a dick.
Yeah, he wasn't a young kid. He was a straight up adult when he did this. And like a creepy one.
Someone's gonna miss her? Fuck you.
Mm-hmm. How is that his position to say, you know?
Yeah. Like, who asked you? Nobody.
Nobody.
But it's really just that simple. He wanted to have sex with them. They didn't want to. He murdered them.
Yep, and dogs brought body parts and...
Ugh. I can't believe I've never heard of this guy.
Well, he was in our big book of serial killers.
You've cracked that thing open way more than I have.
I look at it constantly. I'm not sure if that's normal or not, but...
It is in our world. Love our podcast? Then hit that subscribe button and leave us a review.
We're also on Patreon. Head on over to patreon.com/truecrimebuzz and join today for access to all our exclusive content, including bonus episodes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at TC Buzz Podcast.
And check out our website at www.truecrimebuzz.com.
Until next time, cheers!